Welcome, everybody, to the Jersey Tales, a mascot's take on sports, or at least something close to it. On tonight's episode, we're going to cover the draft and everything that could possibly go wrong, everything that can possibly go right, and everything that could possibly just be question mark, question mark, question mark. We're also going to cover the Sanders situation because it's just getting funnier. In the meantime, we've got Yukon is with us. We've got Cy. It's me, Red the Ram, and we got producer Lexi in the booth. Welcome, everybody, to the Jersey Tales. All right, so first with the draft. I am so glad we are not officially on record for any pre-draft predictions because, huh, uh, uh, I thought the draft was fun. It was definitely more fun than the pre-draft. Let me put it that way. And of course, now my definition of fun, I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan too, so like keep in mind my definition of fun might be slightly different. Now it's not quite as bad as like, a Browns version of fun, but like it was interesting to see all the stuff moving and shaking and working itself out in the system. I don't really want to talk about the Bengals first because I'm still processing I'm still processing. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and go to Yukon. And how do you think your Broncos did?
Yeah, so I thought they did pretty well. The first round pick, they took a cornerback, right? A lot of people expected them to take that's not really a huge need that they have. The need was really, a number one wide receiver for Bo Nix. Our defense is sort of one of the best in the league, and uh, secondary wasn't the number one need for us. So not taking a receiver at first was kind of a head scratcher. We were all like, my at least when I'm messaging my local friends, sports friends about it, we were like, at first I was especially like, what the heck? I mean, I'm overall pretty happy with them. They did pick up third, fourth round. They picked up a couple edge rushers. Also, we didn't need. Those are kind of interesting. I mean, we didn't take. We really need wide receivers. Like we
No,
need a
no.
receiving core. And
So Denver's entire plan was to screw over just the rest of the league. That's all this is.
I
Because
like it.
if you go back and look, everybody else in the league needed two positions.
Yeah.
They needed a quarterback and they needed an edge rusher.
Yeah.
Everybody. You go back and look. Some of us got one and not the other. Some of us got none. But apparently Denver was just like, you know what? We'll forget about it, like the whole like throwing the football kind of thing, and like, well, we'll just make sure that nobody else can throw the football.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is funny. I mean, yeah, that's the other thing is it's like, oh well, we didn't really need a cornerback and these edge rushers, but now it's like, okay, I guess Denver is just happy to have like the best defense in the league, which is fine. That's also not a bad thing. They're pretty locked down. I definitely expected, at the point when the Broncos were up first round, they're at 20. Um, Matthew Golden was still on the board, and that was what I expected them to take, and everyone probably else expected them to take, since wide receiver was definitely their number one need. But in my opinion, at least, I mean, they also got a running back, which was another need for them. They got running back in the second round. Um, So I don't know. It was just kind of a head scratcher at first. I guess we'll just have a really good defense. Hopefully we have enough receivers for Bo Nix. Now that he's there later in the last season, he sort of found his stride. So it's like, okay, he's ready for good wide receivers because that's the thing we're missing. Um, I don't know. And we didn't pick one up till the third round. So I don't know. I mean, my overall grade for them, gosh, I don't know. I really wish we got a better, a good number one receiver. But I'm excited for the defense. I don't know. I feel like I give them like, a C.
Were there any like wide receivers though that were in this draft that just kind of gave you the fizz? You know, like like you were just excited about? Because I don't
I
recall
mean,
that many. Like this draft was very defensive heavy. Um,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you look at, I mean, you can like look at the first round, and it's a lot more defense than it is offense. A lot of, I mean, what surprised me too is, well, not surprised me, but it was interesting in this first round, uh, how many, tackles, how many line guys were taken.
because people are they're starting to realize they're paying a lot of money for guys who getting hurt halfway through the season,
Yeah, no, it's true.
and so you can pay a little bit less for some guys that'll get hurt less halfway through the season. It's almost kind of like the running back situation, whereas it's you want to draft that running back first round because you got him for 5 years. He'll be cheap for at least 5 years, and then he's going to go off,
Yeah.
and so and that's fine because by the time he goes off, he's going to be close to 30, and we all know that running backs start to just decline after 30. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like what your question about an exciting receiver, I don't. I mean, obviously there
I
was
did,
Travis Hunter that wouldn't have never gotten that far anyway, so
yeah,
that wasn't part of the consideration.
yeah. I mean, outside of like the top two, maybe like
Yeah.
there wasn't anybody that was just kind of, oh yeah, because like even like the Chiefs and their little shenanigans for like the fastest wide receiver ever, which works out great every time the Bengals do it. So good luck, Chiefs.
Yeah.
That was sarcasm. It didn't work out. It was terrible. He was awful. And so outside of like, there's always like a couple wide receivers who are just like, oh, maybe there's tight ends, maybe. But yeah, it was a very defensive heavy draft. Now, part of that too is based on team need,
Yeah.
which we saw. And I think part of it is also too because of NIL. Because hey, if you can make $2.5 million being a quarterback, or $1.5 million being a wide receiver at a prestigious university,
School. Yeah. No, I get that. I don't know. I mean, I think Golden, if they took him, would have been a good. I think that would have been a good match. I like Matthew Golden as a receiver, so I would have been happy with that. But I don't know. I'm pretty happy. I'm at the very least very interested to see how our defense looks this year, because it was good last year, and really it only got better. So that's going to be interesting. I just hope that Bo Nix can pass the ball to somebody.
we don't play again late in the season, do we?
Oh, I haven't even looked at the. I don't know.
Oh, really? You haven't even looked?
I haven't even looked.
I'm already planning out half the season tickets I'm buying. Or not season
well,
tickets, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, games worth.
It's not at home this time, if it is, because it wasn't on my list. All right, Lexi, you were awfully chippy in the pregame, so I'm going to let you go ahead and tell us how you think your commies did.
Well, for our first round pick, we went with the offensive tackle, which kind of shocked me, to be honest. I get why they did it because you need to protect your best asset in Daniels, but we already traded for Tunsil this offseason. I don't know why you go for another tackle. It's still it's a good pick, though. It's a not flashy pick. It lets Coleman move into right guard. I mean, our second round pick was someone who I wanted in the first round with Trey Amos. Like that dude has high starter potential. Like he's an aggressive corner to pair outside with Marshawn Lattimore and Sanderson in the slot. So going from Benjamin St. Jude's to Amos was a good pick. And then
yeah, I mean, Amos was on my list of people I wanted. So I mean, I'm with you 100%, but like also I'm looking at it like, dude, you got almost in the second round, so like I'm not complaining too bad.
No, I'm not complaining. Like, I thought we could possibly have taken him with our first round pick. So getting him with our second round pick is something I'm happy with. I mean, our third round pick is a really good player. We got him out of Virginia, our fourth round pick out of Virginia Tech, keeping him in state. He's a 4-4 wide receiver, slot wide receiver, replaces De'Ami Brown, who signed with the Jags this offseason. The number one pick that I completely loved is in the seventh round. We got Krosky Merritt from Arizona with pick 245. I have a huge take here. I think um, by week 5, he's going to be the number one running back on the Commanders. I think he had a third to second round grade last year due to due to eligibility. He could not play the whole season, so he dropped all the way down to the 7th round.
I mean, that could have been the case. It's so hard though, because like when we got was it Browning, and you're like, all right, well, whatever. Like he's just gonna peter out, and now he's like a freaking superstar. For us, on the Bengals side of things, and like he's guaranteed he's getting a touchdown every single game. Like I think if you had him in your Final Fantasy, like or not Final Fantasy, your fantasy football. Ah, that was the different podcast.
What a nerd.
If you get your fantasy football, I think you're guaranteed. Because I remember sitting in the stands watching a game with Danny, and the guys in front of us were like, "Hey, here's my parlay. What do you think?" And they're Steelers fans, and all of them are Bengals related player features. And I was like, I mean, that's a good one. And so it was great because we were playing the Steelers, and we've got the Steelers fans high fiving us because we got a touchdown on them. And then they turn around and score again because also our defense sucked. But they weren't wrong that Browning and all of that was good stuff. But again, he came late. He was not one of those superstars picks, which I guess is what my point is on that. So, running back's such a weird thing because sometimes that success in college translates really well, and sometimes it doesn't. So it's always kind of a it's always kind of a crapshoot, And I guess I'm going to segue that into what the Bengals did because I have no idea what we did.
What did you do?
I'm still like scratching my head on this. So for our first round pick, we got a project.
Yeah,
like
I think that's fair.
His is build is like perfect for NFL build, size, weight, all of that stuff. Everything looks great there. And he's just not very productive on the field though. And so it's one of those things where it's like he would have been around in the second round if you wanted him. Why didn't you get one of the other big guys that you were looking at? And I know you were looking at him because it was all over the boards that you were looking at him. And then either you saw something you didn't want in that guy that you were looking at, or you were perfectly fine with the Steelers getting him because that's what happened with every single round. like every round, it was be great if we picked up this guy. Oh, we're not picking up the guy. Who are we getting? Oh, we're getting somebody else. I mean, that's not a bad pick. And then the Steelers just feel like, hey, we'll take what the Cincinnati left on the table. All right, great, fantastic. Like we took 3 defensive players, 2 O-linemen, and a running back. We passed on Starks, Watts, Imawari, Barron, Johnson, Harrison. It's like, unless you saw something that just gave you pause, or I mean, it also could be the fact that we only have 4 scouts. And we're just really bad at this whole football thing. And then sometimes we just luck ourselves into things. Which has been known to happen. But what are we doing? And like this, you look at the Steelers. Every round, I'm thinking like, oh hey, this guy's available. It's gonna be great. We're gonna get him, and he's gonna be great. Oh, we're doing that. Okay, fine. And then immediately the Steelers go, and then it's, oh, yeah, that's what I thought was good too. Huh? Crap. I don't want to be a Steelers fan. Stop it. Now, it was more of a head like I don't hate most of our picks. But again, I think that we could have got them in different. We could have still ended up at least with the top half. I think we probably could have still got the top half of them one order down. I think, and ended up with a slightly better roster and gotten one of those big time players that we kind of needed. But hey, you know what? We got a running back in one of the late rounds, which that's just great. I mean, I don't hate the offensive guard from Georgia. I think that's a good call, especially the number of times that our guy in center goes down. Like that doesn't bother me. The defensive tackle doesn't bother me. But my God, have you not seen our secondary? It's bad. Now maybe Golden thinks he can fix it. And
yeah, you guys
I-
you didn't pick up a single
yeah,
back, did you?
yeah,
No safety, no.
no. So maybe Golden looked at our stuff and was like, you know what their problem is coaching. And I hope he's right, because they were all very high end, like highly touted prospects when they came in. And maybe it was a problem with coaching, and Lou just can't develop a player. If you give him a developed player, he'll run a scheme that's amazing with them. And maybe the whole situation is he just can't develop them, and maybe that's all it is. And maybe I'm overreacting. But no, our secondary, not a single one. No, and I don't think we're gonna make any moves now that it's over. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we blew off our cap space. So, it's a head scratcher. Like, I don't hate what we did. I don't love what we did. So like it's in that weird thing of like, why did we do that? Now, in terms of hating what we did, we're gonna go live to Psylocke over in the Saints camp.
So I have to preface this by saying the New Orleans Saints are not a serious organization. What the Saints did this weekend is nothing short of criminal. They started off the draft really well by taking Kelvin Banks Jr., an offensive tackle. And that is the biggest need that the Saints had to address in the draft. And I gave them an A- for that pick. Excuse me, an A for that pick. Excuse me. That's a solid pick. And that filled me with hope, because it's like, wow, the Saints are actually doing the correct thing. But from there, it got progressively worse.
That second round hit, and your immediate reaction was in our group chat was excellent.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now because I'm afraid it's been deleted.
Oh no, it's still there. No, it is still there. Good. It is all still there. The Saints proceeded to draft Tyler Shough, a quarterback from Louisville.
What is wrong with Louisville?
Oh, we'll get to that. But they to draft a 26-year-old college football player. This is reminiscent of the Browns drafting, for the folks who remember at home, Brandon Wheaton. He was 28 years old, the oldest person to be ever drafted by the NFL. Another quarterback, flamed out spectacularly in Cleveland, lasted 2 seasons. This guy can't throw. I've looked at video of him. There's a very famous video now of him throwing at I think either the combine or some kind of draft session he had with some teams, and it's awful. They said, you know what? We need a quarterback. Let's pick Timu Brandon Wheaton. what the heck are we doing?
Oh my god!
Like,
All
I
right,
don't even-
so first off, like he's actually not a bad passer. And our offense is very quarterback reliant, and he does a very good job of hitting the ball. So it's one of the two things, right? Either what you were seeing of his combine was just a bad day, or everyone should have drafted all of our wide receivers, which they didn't.
I mean, possibly. I just that whole pick ruined the rest of the draft for me because the rest of it, I mean, there's some good, solid pieces there. You know, we need to address the edge. Fadil Diggs, 7th round pick out of Syracuse. I was told by a
I
friend
don't.
that
Well,
that's
hang on.
pick.
What do you mean by ruined? Like the whole draft for you? Because like all I've got is this wonderful sound quote.
Fuck the Saints. Worst run team in the fucking NFL. Tyler Show from fucking Louisville. Disgusting. No, this team needs to be fucking folded. Disgusting. Move him to fucking San Antonio. I'm done with this shit. What I really need to see is the Lions drafting fucking edge rusher for fuck's sake.
So have fun with that one, Lexi.
No, I listen. In the heat of the moment, I was upset, and I've been telling people, if they pick a quarterback this draft, I will, as the kids say, crash out because they did not need to pick a quarterback. They had other positions of need, like edge, safety, cornerback. Like, hello, we shipped off a cornerback to the Commanders like during the season. We lost Paulson Adebo to free agency, so we had other needs. People want to point to, oh, David Carr's injured. Well, cool, that's fine. We have Jake Hader and we have Rattler there, and you can just pick up a veteran in free agency. They didn't need to pick a quarterback. So it just ruined the rest of the draft for me. And I'm not sure
I know.
what
I
this
got
team is
the
doing.
sound bite, just ready to
I
go.
know. I heard it. I stand by what I said. Gail Benson has managed to ruin both the Saints and the Pelicans for me, and I hate it. I hate it so much. I wish she'd sell the team, but yeah, I don't know what the
Great if
Saints are
all the
doing.
New Orleans teams just decided like, hey, you know what? We shouldn't be here anymore. We should go to a real city with like people that know how to manage teams.
Like what?
That'd be,
Like
I don't know.
Dallas.
Ew. You kidding me? Dallas?
Managed teams.
well, because I mean, everyone already knows the Mavericks are going to Vegas. So
Have you seen Jerry Jones? He's
That's a
barely
short-
alive right now.
Don't worry.
That's a
are you
short-
serious?
It was totally sarcasm. Don't worry.
Well, I was talking about the Pelicans. So the Pelicans could definitely go to Dallas and like they just slot in there. And then
Oh, okay.
the
All right.
Saints, hey, Louisville can talk now that it's bigger than New Orleans.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's
It is.
a take.
It is. Oh,
Are we
look
gonna-
at Louisville Metro versus like New Orleans. I think they surpassed like
Okay.
2,000 people.
I'm looking this up now. Louisville Metro.
I don't think people are scrambling for Louisville, NFL team. I'm sorry.
Not an NFL
Uh,
team, but we want an NBA team like bad, especially since our college basketball arena is nicer than most NBA arenas.
The Yum Center? Yeah, no, Yum Center is a very nice arena.
you've never been.
622,981 people, the 43rd largest metropolitan statistical area in the United States, Louisville. Most people don't know. Yeah. And where is New Orleans? Wow, that's way far down. Oh my god.
I'm not wrong. Like it was one of those shocker ones. Was like, why do they still have pro teams?
59. Well, they lost a lot of people because of Katrina, and it's just struggled to recover ever since. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense. But yeah, in regards to the Saints, I don't know what they're doing. My only hope is that we tank this year and draft either Arch Manning or Garrett Nussmeier or some quarterback.
You
Because-
tank this year.
Yes, they have to tank.
What did they do last year?
They actually tried last year, which was awful. Because look what happened.
Yeah, you got your hopes up.
You always do. Always get my hopes up.
All
You know
right.
what the sad part is?
I just
What's up?
But
No, I just realized that the Pelicans arena is the Smoothie King Center.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
It's the
a
worst arena in the NBA.
that's a rough sponsor.
Pelicans,
Sorry,
come
go ahead.
on down. The Louisville Cardinals would like to welcome you.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, hey, and for a while there, like you had a bunch of our players on there, so it's fine. Just come on home. Outside of basketball talk, we're back to football because we're solely focused on football for this episode. So who are the winners? Do you think from the draft? Like just in general.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Travis Hunter.
I mean, you answered my question 100%. How are we feeling about how the Titans did?
I don't hate Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward was either the first or second best quarterback prospect in this draft, and the
Who's the
Titans addressed
best?
the glaring need. What's up?
Who was your number one if he's not number one?
I think Sanders was the top pick, just based on everything that I've saw from him during the year.
Based on football solely.
Football solely. Just football.
Problem is that's not what translates to success on the field.
It doesn't.
If that was the case, then Tom Brady would be warming a bench for somebody. Pointing that out there.
I think
Seventh
Ward
round.
is a good player. He's a really good player. He balled out at Miami last year. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's going to immediately step in and be that franchise quarterback. If the Titans are smart, they let him sit for a year, and I don't know who's the starting quarterback.
Oh my gosh, I would hope they let him sit for a year, but
Yeah.
they're probably gonna fall into Brownitis where they're gonna play him, and it's gonna ruin him. I don't know. To be fair, I don't know if that's Brownitis or if that's Bearitis, because that's what those two teams do. Is they ruin good quarterbacks. Now somehow
Jets also.
So yeah. I mean, like look at Gino, right?
Yep.
But like yeah. Oh, Jeditis is also a thing, I suppose. Just let you guys sit. Like I know you want to get that money's worth out of you, but I'm telling you, let him sit behind the veteran guy that's going to explain how everything can possibly go wrong. And while he thinks he knows better because he's fresh out of it, yeah, sure, give it a couple of reps. Let him get squished a couple of times so that he knows that he doesn't know everything. That's fine. Especially let him get his reps against like the number one defense in the league or number two or your best one, just so that they can kind of kick his box in a little bit.
Right.
And if that doesn't work, and he ends up like impressing you, then you're like, hey, you know what? You're ready. But he's never gonna be ready. Like Rocky had to go up and get his teeth kicked in for a minute before he became Rocky. I mean, it's a thing. It has to happen.
But I think the problem with that, real quick, is in today's NFL, everything is always, what have you done for me lately? And GMs, they don't have time anymore. The owners are so impatient now. They expect the quarterback to come in and play right away. And I got to tell you, a lot of these kids coming out, they're not ready for it. They're coming from spread offenses and they're not adapting to these NFL pro style offenses, even though NFL offenses have adopted more spread, techniques. It's not a full 1-to-1. And these kids are coming out. They're clearly not ready for it, but they're being thrust into the fire, and their confidence gets broken by week 3 because they've been sacked so many times, or they don't have the best training staff to coach them up. And it's just 4 or 5 years from now, what's the team doing? Well, we're going to draft a new quarterback. It's rinse and repeat.
Yeah, and not, I
So-
mean, not every team has something in place where somebody like a Jaden Daniels would succeed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, and I know Lexi's got opinions on why Jane Daniels succeeded. Now, Jaden also might be one of those special players that is past that barrier where it's like, hey, if the team knew what they were doing, everything would be fine. I mean, we saw it before, with like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had a set, and he was sitting there getting antsy, sitting behind Brett Favre. And then he goes off and he sets the world on fire, and everybody thinks he's great until he starts talking on random sports podcasts. Not ours. Just saying. There'll be no health advice coming out of here. But it was important for him to learn the game behind like one of the greats. And I mean, even if you got somebody that's not one of the, I mean, granted, I don't know how much value you're going to get from someone sitting behind Tua. Like, no offense to Tua, but like, I don't know how good your communication skills are after that many concussions. But everybody else has got wisdom to impart.
Oh my
like
gosh.
people that even played behind like Teddy Bridgewater were like, yes, I understand the game better because somebody knew what was going on and was able to show me things to watch out for so I didn't make stupid rookie mistakes. And then they go out there and they don't make the stupid rookie mistakes. Instead, they get to make their own mistakes or win football games. And that's the important part. I mean, am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm way off on that.
No, I don't think you're wrong on that at all. I just wish that GM saw it that way. I really wish that GMs and owners especially would slow down and go back to how things used to be. Because back in the day, it was almost unheard of a quarterback coming out and starting immediately. You sat for at least a year, and then you got your shot. That
Least
seemed
half
to
a year.
change. What's that?
At least half a year. I mean, wasn't that the whole thing with Brady, right? Like Bledsoe got hurt,
Oh yeah,
and
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
like halfway through the season, and then he just like sets the world on fire, and like next thing you know, he's the greatest of all time. Bledsoe is just a very angry old man.
Yeah, I mean that's what happened. Outside of I think one example where that didn't happen was Peyton Manning. In of course his first year, he threw 18 interceptions.
Yeah.
And the following year, he was an All Pro. I'm probably wrong on that. His following year, I know he did good his following year, but back then it was really unheard of for a quarterback to just start their rookie year. They sat, but something changed in this modern NFL, and owners are so impatient now. They want to win now, and
Well,
they put
everyone
so
wants
much
to win now.
pressure.
That's not fair. Everyone wants to win now. The thing is that
Yes.
it's okay to want to win now, but it's your job as an owner, as a team, as an organizer, as a general manager to build the pieces to make sure you don't have the collapse that is what happened to the Patriots. Because you look at the Patriots and they had the perfect plan to always be in contention for a long period of time. And then they stopped following the plan. And once that happened, what happened to
what
the
was the plan?
Patriots? Well, you
Hold on,
keep
what was-
feeding things. You keep everything managed properly. Bill would be in charge of recruiting or drafting the defensive players. The offensive stuff would be handled by somebody else. You kept Brady happy. Things were good. You didn't make Brady feel like a liability. And you
Right.
let Brady do Brady things. You give him some input in. And it was a full organizational thing. And then the moment that Brady left, it all fell on Bill. And like I love Bill to death. I think he's one of the greatest defensive minds of all of the NFL. But you got to also respect the other side of the ball. And he just thought he could make another Brady. And that's kind of where they kind of fell apart. That he could continue to make do with like 3rd round, 7th round picks on his offensive side of things. And you know, you got lucky once, but like you're not going to get lucky again.
Yeah. And I mean, quarterbacks
gonna-
like Brady,
Go ahead.
they're rare. Like it's so there's only a handful of quarterbacks who've ever played this game in the National Football League who have had that ability to make everyone around them on offense really good. It's so rare. Like we got to see 3 of them, well, 4 of them actually. We got to see 4 of them growing up. Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Peyton Manning. We got to see 4 of them. Like that's such a small list. So you can't replicate that with Mac, was it? It's Mac not Mac Miller.
Mac
Who
Jones.
was the
Jones,
yeah,
Mac
Mac
Jones.
Jones. Yeah.
Mac Miller.
Mac Miller, rest in peace. You can't replicate that with Mac Jones. So I'm not sure what Bill thought, but that whole organization ran really well, large part because of Brady. As awful as
Man,
it is to say, but
Brady managed to no, because like Bill was the other side of that coin. Bill managed the defense and like managed everything about the defense fantastically, and Brady was able to not only manage the offensive side of things, he was able to recruit other people to come and just play with for him for a little bit, you know, and
right.
that was a benefit that he got. So he basically got a free assistant coach, because the other thing too is Brady is like Manning, where the offense is his. He's going to be mad at you if you show up to practice like 5 minutes late. Like that's Brady, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be upset. He's going to chew you out if you didn't read the playbook over the weekend. He doesn't care that you had a fantastic party, but he's going to be mad, and he's going to act as an assistant coach on the offensive side, which is going to be something else that's going to give extra motivation. Plus the fact that he's won all this stuff, and then now he's got star power, and people just want to play with Tom Brady because they can say they caught a football from Tom Brady. Same thing with Peyton Manning. I want to say I caught a football from Peyton Manning. You know, it's there's a lot of that too that goes into play, but that comes later because of all the stuff that he built. So, who are your losers outside of your own teams on the draft? Like, who did poorly?
The Browns.
Well,
The Browns. They drafted
Oh.
2 running backs, and then they also drafted
Yeah,
2
they did.
quarterbacks.
You can't take my answer, Lexi. Like, that was my answer.
the Browns browned really well. 2 running backs.
I mean,
2 quarterbacks.
Dylan Gabriel before Shador.
But
Oh
hey,
my
at least they're gonna get some like Ohio State funding for a stadium as opposed to the Bengals, which have actually done something recently.
Yeah. Speaking of Ohio State, 14 total players in the draft, second most by any school in the first 7 rounds of a draft. Look at that.
And what was their NIL? I think they were like number 1 or number 2, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's why they literally bought the best team in the country. I think number 2 was probably Notre Dame, if I had to guess. Yeah, but like it's the Browns. Like I have no idea what the heck they were doing. Like unless they think they could just draft it, trade it, which doesn't make any sense based off of who they picked. Winners.
Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green might be he might be one of the better tight end prospects in that draft. I know everybody was all over Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland, but Fanning Jr. is really good tight end out of Bowling Green, and I think they
Right.
got them a steal there at 67.
So I think the Steelers did fantastic, assuming they actually get a quarterback in free agency. And I hate that.
What
Do you know how
guys
to? Do you know how much that hurts for me to say? Like, I don't think you understand. It's like every other football fan paying the Cowboys a compliment, like, which I will never do. But, because again, everyone that I wanted to draft, the stupid Steelers took. So I thought they did really well.
What'd you think about the Raiders? Oh,
They did
first of all, they had 40,000 picks because of all
Yeah.
they had like 10 picks or something like that.
They did all right. Like, I mean,
So they got the running back.
yeah. They got the superstar running back. They've got.
My feelings on him are still mixed, but
They got what they think is the superstar running back.
yeah.
I mean, Jack, I'm going to mispronounce his name. Beach or Beck. Wide receiver out of Tennessee. I think that's a really good pick. Darian Porter, cornerback, Ohio State. It's another one. Their whole issue is they still don't have a quarterback. It's
Yeah.
not going to be oh man.
They got Cam Miller out of like North Dakota. What are you talking about? They're going to be fine.
Oh no, I don't.
That North
Me and
Dakota State
FCS quarterbacks don't really jive well.
pick.
Yeah, I'm good.
But he's a 2-time national champion.
But hey,
Oh,
hey,
boy.
hey,
So
maybe he's
impressed.
really good at handing off the ball to that superstar running back, and like they'll just be a run first quarterback.
I mean, they're projects. Miller and Tommy Mellett out of Montana State. They're both projects at quarterback for the. I do think they improved as a team. I don't know if it's enough. We have to see how they are in free agency before we start saying, okay, they're clearly gaining up on the Chargers and Chiefs. You know?
Well, the way that I look at let me be honest. Like I'm looking at like what they drafted, all right, and I'm seeing they're not going to do much this year. But if next year's quarterback class is going to be as hot as what I think it's going to be, they could be terrible this year, and then you just fill in that like quarterback slot, and just a little pop there, and then boom, they're going to be contenders again. Because I like everything else that they did. I know it's weird. I like everything else that they did on the line. Like I think that they've got some wide receiver stuff, they got some cornerback stuff, but like they were definitely focused on the line. They got 2 big linemen. They got another wide receiver after that. Like they are building a team that's just ready for a first round quarterback to come in and play. Now, again, it may take them 3 years for everything to be realized, and then things are going to get hot. And I've been in that situation. Now, granted, we did the quarterback first, but they are in a rebuild situation, and I am not angry about anything that they took outside the quarterback. Well, I'm not angry, but like it's not going to do anything. But hey, it's important to always have like third string quarterback or whatever. So. I think they did all right.
Yeah, they did. I just think they're still going to be 4th in that division. I think obviously Denver, KC, and Los Angeles, excuse me, are way better right now. They're still rebuilding, and yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like no, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl next year. I'm not saying they're going to make playoffs next year. I think I like the foundation I'm seeing because like I'm looking at it not for next year. I'm looking at it for the year after, and I think they're gonna
Right.
start surprising people. I mean, with that draft selection, and you throw like Jaden Daniels on there, like I'd start to get a little excited. But
We're throwing JD Vance on the Raiders.
no,
Awesome.
no.
Oh.
Different podcast that hadn't started yet. I don't think I'm actually like built for one of those podcasts.
It's okay.
It's all right. It'll be fine. Everything will be all right. So Browns the biggest losers.
I have one more. I wrote it down.
You better find it.
So this is sort of a wild card.
You know, that's what I hear about you, like you people specifically. Like you're really good with receipts.
What do you mean by you people? What's that supposed to mean?
Exactly. Well, it's
What?
an inside thing. It's fine. It's all good.
What did he say? No. Justin Tucker. So I don't know. This is why I said this is a wild card.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker is a loser in this draft. The Ravens drafted a kicker for the first time in franchise history. Tyler Loop out of Arizona. For people who don't know, Tucker is facing some very damning allegations of sexual misconduct. And he's been around for 13 seasons. He's probably the greatest of all time kicker.
Probably.
There's no debate.
There's no debate. It's no probably. Like, he is the greatest of all
kicked a
time.
67-yard field goal. Like, that's.
I don't know if that longest kick makes you the greatest ever, just because it's
It
one
doesn't.
kick.
But like
But
his kicking
work is-
percentage is like.
For a while, it was the best until I think Younghoe Koo has the record now. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, but he's. I think
but-
he's still like number wise, like still one of the because he is Mr.
He is.
Automatic.
Not last year though. Last year he was off
Because he was dealing with all the off court stuff. But like, well,
Yeah.
I mean, again, it may be wrong. Like I may be wrong. Like he may be on the down spiral. But either way, you know what? Hey, Browns, you should work out a trade deal because like
Oh no!
this lines up with you. That's all I'm
Can
saying.
you imagine
It does. Oh,
Deshaun
No
Watson
comment.
and Tucker
Okay.
open a massage parlor? Can you imagine?
Stop. Can you not?
Watch on Tuck.
Stop.
Oh no! Don't do that.
I mean, it's. We're just saying. No, we're not recommending things, but like,
We're gonna have
hey,
to cut that out. Maybe we should cut that out.
I don't think we should. I think that should definitely stay. But yeah, like, I hope they're thinking about getting rid of him. Like, first off, as a conference rival, definitely hope they get rid of him. Secondly, as a person that thinks that whatever he's been accused of has been abhorrent, they should absolutely get rid of him. But both of those sentiments, though, does mean that he's probably going to end up at the Browns. Let's just be honest. So we've got our biggest losers. We got our biggest winners, maybe. Like, what one other team is sitting there making you scratch your head and being like, "What did you do?" I mean, mine was the Bengals. So like I am shocked by what we did. So that's mine. So I want to hear the rest of your take because I couldn't get past that because it none of it made sense.
I mean, mine was well, same with the Broncos a little bit. Like I said, on not picking a wide receiver up early as their biggest need.
Mhm.
Obviously, the other scratch your head, what are you doing? It's the Browns, not only as a loser, but just like, what are you doing? You know?
No, we've already established that they are doing
Yeah.
the Browns.
No, well, yeah, okay. They're their own category.
Yeah, the Browns are going to Browns. Sigh. Did anybody else confuse you?
Sure. So one of my most confusing picks had to have been Tet McMillan at 8 by the Panthers. I mean, I get it. You want to give Bryce Young perimeter help. You want to give him a young, speedy wide receiver. But I feel like there were much better receivers that you could have taken at that spot. Luther Burton III. Obviously, Matthew Golden out of Texas. I think he was the best possible choice for them. I know some people would have said, well, that would have been a reach at 8. But my biggest takeaway from that is they needed to get Bryce Young some help on the offensive line. Armin Mimbu was there, Kelvin Banks Jr. as well. I really feel like the Panthers should have looked more so at protecting Bryce Young or maybe defense with the pick as opposed to wide receiver. That's probably my most confusing pick that I can think of in this draft. Everything else felt like, okay, it kind of made sense, at least in the top, in the first round. Most things made sense outside of that pick at 8.
That makes sense. And then we gotta get gotta now attack the elephant in the room. So, do you think Sanders is gonna be like enjoying some Timmies and talking with an A?
He has the chance to do the funniest thing ever. That's all I'll say.
I don't think it's the funniest thing, but I honestly, if he went off to go play football at the Canadian side of things for at least a season or two, I don't know what their contracts are like, so I can't speak too much on that. It might actually be worse for him, but right now I think his largest financial offering is from the Canadian Football League. Because he went, what, 5th round?
Yeah, but is he that concerned about the money bit? I mean, dude's loaded.
His dad's loaded. He
Yeah,
might have got some money.
He got NIL.
He got some NIL money. But the way that I'm looking at it is from the standpoint of you go off to one of like these side leagues, develop, and then get brought back in. Do you go ahead and suck it up and be a buttercup and go in and come in at the smaller money and are basically like, look, yeah. And to be fair, again, we already covered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time came in today's essay round 7, right?
Yeah.
So we all know why he's there.
Yeah, I mean,
are we going to say why he's there? That's the question. So I'm going to go ahead. So first off, I'm going to throw this over to UConn because he's kind of been your quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, obviously.
Well, before we get started, but I've already heard like a side dump on my quarterback for this year. So.
Okay.
So just so you're aware. Misery loves company, so we'll see how this goes. Go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm So I'm a Buffs fan. I have been my entire life, right? And I certainly love him as a quarterback. I think he's not the greatest ever, but he's statistically the best ever that CU's had. Not that that's a huge deal, and I guess that's why they retired his number. I don't know. But, great quarterback. I watched him. Obviously, I've watched him for the last 2 years. I've been to several of those games in person. I mean, the guy, other than, he's had issues where he takes unnecessary sacks, especially last season, or like the previous season, not this last year, but the year before. He took a lot of unnecessary sacks because he just held on the ball too long. This year he was a little better about getting rid of the ball when he needed to. And the dude makes a lot of. I mean, he obviously had some great receivers in Horn Jr. Obviously Travis Hunter and all them. Really good receiving core that made some incredible catches for him. And I mean, he had the benefit of having incredible receivers that he could throw into tight little spots and throw into those corners of the end zone and get some tiptoe catches and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, and that just speaks to him, like, as a good receiver to make those tight window throws and such, that, like, he made some really NFL level throws. There were several throws during the year that were, in the middle of the field, into tight coverage that were, those like layered NFL level throws. Obviously, I mean, there's no doubting that that guy's a pretty good quarterback as long as he doesn't take stupid sacks and all that. He's a great quarterback. But then, the take that's not a hot take. Everyone completely agrees with all this, but all the other crap with him is why his draft was so poor. I mean, he's just got this ego and all this, I guess, sort of that not comes down, but has been fed by his dad. And all this stuff about, I mean, the number getting retired and all that stuff, I mean, that was pretty dumb. Travis Hunter is a maybe because he's a Heisman and all of that, but Shadeur's number getting retired was, as a lifelong fan, I was just like, that's so dumb. But getting your number retired, all this like money and bling stuff, and his like legendary draft room or whatever, where he's like, I'm like, I guess he's saying like, I'm legendary, right? Like and then there's been all these, especially over the last several days, there's been all these stories coming out about him having really bad like scouting interviews and such. Who knows how credible all those are, whether they are or not. It just adds to this story of like, this is why you didn't get drafted. Like, nobody wants all this crap in their locker room, even if you're a good quarterback. Like, nobody wants that kind of a person in their locker room that's just all about themselves. And I don't know. I mean, that's simply why. I do think, I think that the Browns were probably the most, from what I could tell, were probably the most interested team in him from the very get-go. So I don't know if, it's funny that they drafted the two quarterbacks and Shedeur being the second one. So apparently, I don't know if in their mind, if they were just like, well, he, like, nobody else is going to want him, so we're just going to let him continue to fall and we'll eventually get him for cheap, being their last pick. I don't know if they expected him to fall that far, and so when he was still available in that fifth round or whatever, they're like, okay, we'll grab him. But I don't know. But that's why. I mean, that's obviously why he fell, and just, if there was not, I mean, I will say, like, it seemed like during the draft, he wasn't, all of the shots of his like draft room that they were constantly showing, because of course he was like the biggest, or well, not the biggest, but one of the biggest stories, right, is when is Shedeur getting drafted. So he was, I'm sure you guys watched during the draft, in the first round and stuff, he was constantly on the screen, or his feed was on the screen.
Constantly.
Constantly. And, I think as he continued to fall, it didn't seem like he would. I mean, I think he didn't get like mad about it or sort of handle it in a bad way that looked bad. It seemed like he kind of just stayed quiet and took it, which I think was good, because he could have easily been like, where are these calls? Why is no one calling me, or whatever, So he didn't do that, which I think helped him. But I don't know. I'm not surprised the Browns finally picked him up. It's just hilarious that it was their second quarterback pick of the draft.
So, do we think that Shedeur in the fifth round was more so the owner stepping in, Jimmy Haslam making the call and saying, "Hey, I want you all to draft Shador."
You might as well.
Or-
Like, I think at this point, like, it was the 5th round, and like he's not. All right, so like this is gonna be like me just being. If he was a quarterback that was available, he really doesn't belong in the 5th round. He's supposed to be a little bit higher than that, and I think the organization is like, you know what, screw it, we'll just go ahead and just take a
Right.
chance on it.
It felt like a screw it kind of pick. I mean, do you?
And
my
it's
question-
fine, right? Because like if he
Sure.
stays at whatever round that he went, and it's the Browns, so like he knows that he can get out because Baker Mayfield finally did. So
Mm.
he can go make some money somewhere.
Do you guys, all three of you, really? Do you think getting Shador in the 5th round? Do you think that's kind of a steal? Like, do you think that? I mean, to get him
Maybe.
to steal him that late, do you think that's a good pick? I'm just curious what you think.
So if this corrects, all right. So if you don't mind, I would like to give a little bit of a lecture. So if you follow the Sanders situation, he interviewed with a bunch of teams, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the transcripts from one of his interviews with one of the teams, I can't say which, I can't say who, I can't say what city, I can't say what state. Well, it could happen. One of the transcripts came out of one of his interviews, and if you've ever interviewed for anything, you always know that the one question you're going to get is something about your flaws, right? They want to hear you to list your flaws and like how you're addressing them. Like that's
Right.
interviewing 101. He was given a list of interceptions that he had made,
Oh, I did see this. Yeah.
and he was asked what he would do differently. And not a single one of those interceptions was his fault.
Right.
It was someone else's fault. And it was, yes, but like, have you looked and saw all the good things I did? And you're sitting there going like, I mean, I understand your dad's off doing Affleck commercials, but like somebody should have sat you down and been like, hey, here's how a job interview actually works. And he failed it spectacularly to the point to where they're just like, you know what? When we interviewed this other quarterback, I'm not going to name the name. We presented the same situation of like, here's the interception that you threw here. Here's the interception you threw here. Here's the interception you threw here. And every single time that guy was like, that was on me. I missed this blown coverage here. That was on me. There was a misstep that was on here, and I should have stopped it. I should have adjusted the play. And I think the other one was, this was on me. And here's how I'm going to get better at this, because I totally missed this guy over here doing this thing, and I will never let that happen again. And that quarterback in that same interview got selected above Sanders. And that's why everyone's like, hey, you need a little bit of humble pie. And everyone's comparing him to Archie, but like, hey, the Archies are giving you the humble pie. I don't know if Coach Prime is giving you the humble pie.
So I think this is a great place for both Shador and the Browns to pick both of them. This works out for both of them. For Shador, there's less pressure on him, so to speak. In theory, there's less pressure on him to perform, let's say, if he was a first-round pick. He's still going to have to work his butt off. And I think for the first time in his life, he's facing adversity, which, from what I can see, I don't think he's ever faced. I think he was probably coddled to an extent by his dad and told yes throughout his entire life, and things were just given to him. And so he's going to face some adversity for the first time in his life. And if he really wants this, he really wants to succeed, he's going to put in the work. And for the Browns, this is a low risk, high reward move. If he pans out, great. You have your future franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. If not, oh well, it's a 5th round pick. You can cut him and move on. Get your quarterback next year or 2 years from now. So it really works out for both sides.
Yeah, that's why I asked that question. I was like, I mean, picking him up 5th round. Obviously, I wish that he didn't have I mean, I'm not a huge fan of his, but as a Buffs fan, like I would have loved for him to be a 1st round pick and all that. I would have loved if he didn't have all this extra crap. So that's why I was thinking, like, well, getting him in the 5th round is kind of a steal, because exactly what you said, it's low risk, but potentially high reward if he figures all this crap out and plays like he should play.
So, do you think he
It's
stays
tough.
with the Browns or does he go to Canada?
No, I think he stays with the Browns.
Or there's always the UFL or whatever the XFL became.
The UFL.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other question, right? All right. So, if you're an NFL player or college player, and you get the opportunity to go to the Canadian Football League or the XFL Light with the beer snake, which one do you take? Die.
UFL. I'm taking the UFL without question. The XFL has a totally different set of rules. Excuse
Yeah.
me, the CFL. I mean, the Canadian Football League has a totally different set of rules that you have to learn.
It's more offensive heavy though, because like you're an offensive player, because you have one less down. Like that's pretty much it. That's basically the difference between the two.
I mean, there's wider fields. They have the field goal and like the top of the end zone, like the NFL used to have. I mean, there's different rules. It's not like a 1-to-1 ratio of
It's
NFL
getting
to
there.
CFL. I don't know.
So you take the UFL every time, even the
Yes.
money's less.
I would, yeah.
How much
mean,
less?
You're on TV now. We don't see CFL games on TV. You have to
Wait,
really look for it.
You don't watch CFL games?
No, do you?
Oh, sometimes.
I'm not that down bad for football. I mean, I'm down bad for it, but even I have
Sometimes I'm down bad for football. and you watch it, and you're like, okay, you just got to remember, like, there's one less down. Things are a little bit weird because they have metric. Also, there's gonna be a little bit of like that like hockey flair. It's gonna be in it. But it would be really funny if Sanders had to go to the Canadian Football. Like, am I wrong on that? It would be funny.
It would be.
It's not like he's gonna lose the rule set. Because he grew up playing American football. Now, if he played the UFL, that would also be like a godsend for the UFL too, right? Because now Affleck has to sponsor him. Right? I mean, am I wrong?
Yeah, no, they have to now.
And then the question is, where does he end up after that? Because since the Browns drafted him, But if he goes somewhere else, what are the rules on that? I guess that's the big question, right?
So, are you saying if he goes to the UFL or CFL, what happens
Yeah.
after that? If he wants to.
Yeah.
So, from what I understanding is, if he goes to the UFL, he's going to play out at least a year. Then, after the season's over, NFL teams are eligible to sign him. I don't know if the Browns would retain his rights since they drafted him. I'm not too sure on that, but they might. So at the end of the day, he still might be a Cleveland Brown, even if he was to say, "Okay, I'm going to go to the XFL or CFL or whatever it's called and come back."
Well, right.
I mean, it might work out for him. There's precedents for this. Warren Moon played in the CFL, Hall of Fame quarterback. So
I mean, there's a few folks that it has worked out for. So
Doug Flutie, another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a good one. I think there's a bunch of kickers, offensive linemen, running
Heck,
backs.
even Johnny Manziel played in the CFL. He was bad at it, but even he did it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like, no, we're not covering Johnny Manziel here. I mean, we're done. We're done with that. All right. So for those of you that have just tuned in for the first time, we are on Blue Sky at the Jersey Tales. If you want to give us a follow over there, you absolutely can. If you're joining us on Spotify, please give us a comment. A follow would be great. If you're on YouTube, a like and subscribe is always appreciated if you have not already done that. And if you have already done that, well, hey, we'll take another like. In the meantime, thanks so much for listening to Jersey Tales, and we will see y'all next week. So,
Go Nuggets, go
goodbye.
Avs.
No,
I had to.
I know.
Bye. Have a wonderful time.
Go Bengals. Who day?